County Sheriff's Office policy over mental health calls in the spotlight, now blamed for a death that some officials say could have been prevented. Thanks for staying with us at 11. I'm Marley Ginter.
And I'm Tony Lopez. Let's get to it. A recently changed Sacramento Sheriff's Office policy under fire after a crisis lifeline call ends in tragedy. This change that went into effect earlier this year, we brought you first right here on CBS 13 News at 10. A call to 911 to report a friend was threatening to harm themselves and had a gun. The call was transferred to 988. The person in crisis died by suicide.
Your reporter covering Sacramento County, Madison Keevy, is getting answers.
Concerns about this policy being deadly is something we heard from a parent here tonight at that Sheriff Review Commission meeting. And she said she was going through grief alone. She thought her son was the only one that has died since this policy went into effect. But she found out today what she calls a worst nightmare, that her son might have not just been the first, but that he wasn't the last.
We abandoned a resident of this county, and it's not acceptable.
A fear realized for the Sheriff Community Review Commission Chair Paul Curtis.
We had a chance to potentially save that individual's life, and we didn't even take that chance.
A call from a friend for help. Someone in Sacramento County threatening to harm themselves and has a gun, but the sheriff's office doesn't respond. And the community wellness response team was only able to offer help over the phone.
And as soon as I got the notice, I was sick to my stomach. It's just extremely upsetting that this policy change that this sheriff has implemented has done.
The commission was notified about the person who died by suicide and brought it to the public at their monthly meeting. The story resonated with Ann Donnelly.
It's heart-wrenching. It just feels way too personal after losing my son that had mental illness that needed help.
Her son Ricky died in June. They weren't able to get him an involuntary 72-hour hold, and she believes the sheriff's policy not to respond to certain mental health calls made it harder.
This policy is dangerous, and there's going to be a lot of other people that are going to die because of this, and I just don't want any other loved ones to go through this.
We've taken concerns like Ann's to the sheriff's office before. Finally, Tuesday, the assistant to the sheriff gave us insights on the mental health call that ended in a suicide. Lieutenant Will Vernon told CBS Sacramento, even before the mental health policy change, deputies would not intervene on a call like this. They would send out units to respond and at times negotiate through a PA system. Now, that happens over the phone, ideally through 988. If there are threats of hurting others, they will respond. In a statement to CBS 13, chairman of the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors says the death brought rightful attention to the policy change, quote, to ignore responding to the very circumstances that led to this regrettable and perhaps avoidable loss of life. Echoing the calls we heard here, calling on the sheriff to reconsider the changes.
And it breaks my heart, and I also don't want him to die in vain.
A spokesperson for the community response team said that they actually can't respond if they know that someone has an unsecured gun, and the only way that they would be able to on a scene is if law enforcement secured the gun and then they were able to respond in that face-to-face way. Tony and Marley, you know we've been covering this, and those concerns we heard tonight, especially from that parent, something we'll continue to take to the sheriff's office and hopefully at some point sit down with Sheriff Cooper and talk through some of these concerns.